There's a point about that I do quite a lot, actually, as regards I get some nice melodies that I'll put the most ridiculous lyrics to. A really sad little melody that is so obvious in lyrical content, yet I go the exact opposite.
51 years ago today, Irish singer-songwriter Gilbert O'Sullivan released his iconic single, Alone Again, Naturally, which tells a rather sad tale of a lonely man being left at the altar and then telling the listener about the death of his parents. The song connected with listeners on various levels. The downtrodden could commiserate with the singer, and the lucky ones that were not in this position were reminded of their good fortune. It sold 2 million copies, spent 6 weeks at the Summit in America, and earned him 3 Grammy Award nominations. It was the second best-selling single of the year in America, behind Don McLean's American Pie. Theories about the biographical meanings of the song have been around ever since. So today, we take a look at the story behind one of the most famous songs of the 70s.
Alone again, naturally.
Gilbert O'Sullivan was actually born in Waterford in 1946. His mum ran a sweet shop, and his dad worked in a meat factory. Like thousands of Irish families, the O'Sullivans emigrated to England in search of a better life. Hence, 7-year-old Raymond found himself growing up in a Swindon council house, attending Swindon Art College, and playing drums, guitar, and piano for various bands, as well as writing his own music. A move to London in the late 1960s brought O'Sullivan his major break. Ex-pop singer-songwriter Gordon Mills took the young Irishman under his influential wing, becoming his manager, song publisher, producer, and older brother/father figure. Having guided the careers of Tom Jones and Engelbert Humperdinck, the wealthy Mills was an enormously powerful patron, and from O'Sullivan's home base on Mills's huge estate, the two launched a 4-year period of runaway international success. O'Sullivan charted in the UK with Nothing Rhymed from his first album, but didn't make an impact in America until Alone Again Naturally was released as the first single from his second album. In the first half of the 70s, O'Sullivan enjoyed a succession of hits in the UK, including 2 number ones that showed his considerable range as a songwriter. The first was Claire, inspired by Claire Mills, the 3-year-old daughter of his manager Gordon Mills, whom O'Sullivan babysat. The second was Get Down, which shows off his soulful side. O'Sullivan was the first Irish-born recording artist with 2 UK number 1 hits. In an interview on the release of his album, The Essential Collection, O'Sullivan explained how Alone Again came.
So, I'm a young songwriter. I'm 22, 23 years of age. I'm in a bungalow that my manager has let me stay in, live in, enabling me to give up my £10 a week job so I could write songs all day. So Alone Again was written, as were other songs, on the couch in the afternoon, sitting and coming up with lyrics and stuff. I didn't think it was any more special than any other song. I was pleased with the way it was going. I didn't have a title for it, but I was getting into the subject matter. And eventually I finished it and got the title. Gordon Mills, my manager, liked it, and we went into the studio about a week later to record 2 songs in those 3-hour sessions. So one would be Alone Again, the other was Out of the Question. So everybody said who was there, Out of the Question is the obvious one for the single. They liked Alone Again, but they didn't think it would be a commercial single. But in the end, my manager said, even though it's not as commercial as Out of the Question, let's stick with it and stuff. So the rest is history. So the good thing for me is that I liked the song, I was happy with it, but I didn't think, God forbid, that I think, wow, this is going to change everything for me. You don't want those kind of experiences done. You just need to know, be happy that you've written what you think is a good song, look forward to recording it, and the rest is up to whatever happens.
Gilbert O'Sullivan has denied that this song is autobiographical or about the death of his father when he was 11. O'Sullivan said, "Everyone wants to know if it's an autobiographical song based on my father's early death. Well, the fact of the matter is, I didn't know my father very well. And he wasn't a good father anyway. He didn't treat my mother very well."
Many people I meet, even people who write about it, assume that it was based on personal experience and stuff. And I think to be a good lyricist, you don't have to experience a subject. An understanding of a subject is important, particularly if it's a serious subject.
The song had dark lyrics, but contrasted with its upbeat melody. The song received extensive radio airplay in the months after its release, and was critically praised. O'Sullivan commented that Neil Diamond covered Alone Again Naturally, and said he couldn't believe a 21-year-old wrote it. But for me, it was just one song I had written. Neil Sedaka stating when he had covered the song in 2020 that he wished that he himself had written the song, because its complexity was more typical of someone much older than 21. Between late July and early September 1972 in America, the single spent 6 non-consecutive weeks at number 1 on Billboard's Hot 100, interrupted by 3 Dog Nights, Black and White. and ranked number 2 in the year-end chart behind Roberta Flack's The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face. At the end of the 1980s, this was used as the opening theme song and Get Down, the closing theme song of Maison Ikoku, a Japanese animated series. They were used without authorization, which caused some controversy at the time. However, the net result was that a new Japanese generation discovered Gilbert's music, and his popularity grew in Japan. Some of his 1990s albums have only been released in Japan, where he has continued to enjoy some success. In 1982, O'Sullivan took his former manager Gordon Mills to court over his original contract, ultimately winning back the master tapes to his recordings as well as the copyrights to his songs. 9 years later, in 1991, O'Sullivan went to court again to sue the rapper Biz Markie, who used an unauthorized sample from his song in his track Alone Again, which appeared on Markie's third album, I Need a Haircut. The judge made a landmark ruling in O'Sullivan's favor that the rapper's unauthorized sample was in fact theft. From this point on, artists had to clear samples or be subject to costly lawsuits. O'Sullivan talked about the case in 2010 at a screening for the movie out on his own, Gilbert O'Sullivan. He said Biz Markie's record company approached him about sampling the song, and O'Sullivan asked to hear it before granting permission. Then we discovered that he was a comic rapper, said Gilbert, and the one thing I'm very guarded about is protecting songs, and in particular, I'll go to my grave in defending the song to make sure it is never used in a comic scenario, which is offensive to those who have bought it for the right reasons. And so therefore, we refused. But being the kind of people they were, they decided to use it anyway, so we had to go to court.
And I have a habit of letting my daughter put on social media one of the reviews of Alone Again when it came out. And it just said, another nice little ditty from Gilbert, might be a hit, who knows. So you balance that out with the huge success that it achieved, particularly in America. It puts into balance also this whole thing. I wouldn't like to be in a situation where the song I was writing, I knew was going to be a hit. The song I was writing was the one that everybody said will be a hit. There's great danger in that, because inevitably you're going to write a song that people won't say that. So it's much better to write the song that you're happy with. You go in the studio, record it, and you're happy with the record. Big Jim Sullivan, God rest his soul, he did a really great guitar solo in that wonderful solo. So I'm really proud of the record. And had it not been a success, I would have still been extremely proud to have done it and recorded it and written it. But it's just nice to know that those kind of things are balanced, kind of keeps your feet firmly on the ground, because you can't predict, particularly in our business. The music business is unique in that sense that you just don't know where it's going to go or what can be a success or what is.
The song has been part of some famous series and movies, and its use has been taken care of by Sullivan himself, who has been in charge of preserving the legacy of his most famous song for more than 50 years. Today, his song has reached new generations thanks to TikTok, and it seems that his mark in the history of music will persist forever. Comment below your impressions of the album, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already done so. Like us, and thanks for watching. This is Music Box.